So, they teach all kinds of stuff in school, like how many watermelons Marcus needs to buy if Susie steals half of his pineapples, or how to properly use there, two, and two, and even the theory that everything was created billions of years ago by an explosion that birthed at least one universe full of planets, plants, stars, moons, people, cells, and even itty-bitty tiny little atoms and quarks. But it seems like they leave out a few important elements that you can't find on the periodic table, like how do you change a tire? How do you make sure you change out your air filter to keep your house from burning down? Or how do you keep your credit from looking like trash? So I, along with the help of Class Act, have decided to create a channel dedicated to teaching you everything you might possibly want to know about money so that you can mature into a blossoming young adult, or, wherever you are in life. Hi, I'm Ryan Olexa from Class Act, and I want to talk money. We want to create a place where anyone can learn the basics of good money management. And if you stick around long enough, we want to take it a step further to help you maybe retire young, or pay your way through college, or be a millionaire by the time you're 30. Whatever your financial goals are, we want to help you get there. But I feel like I haven't convinced you to subscribe quite yet, so let me take the next 5 minutes to do so. I believe that it's worth investing just a little bit of your time into money management, as corny as that sounds, but it really could be the difference between living paycheck to paycheck your whole life, or having enough extra money to be able to give it away to friends and family, or buy a fancy car, or whatever you do with your extra money. So here are 3 examples of why. So let's start by talking about credit and why credit is important. So credit works kind of like your grades do, whereas a great credit score might be an A+ score, versus if you have poor credit, then you have maybe a C or D credit score, or even E. Well, if you have an A+ credit score, you're going to get a better rate on your loans, whereas if you have a D credit score, you're not going to get as good of a rate on your loans. So let's say you decided you wanted to buy a car and you wanted to get a loan for $15,000 from a bank or a credit union like us. Well, if you have an A+ credit score, your interest rate might be something like a 2.75%, for example, versus a D credit score might be more like a 13% rate. But what difference is that actually going to make in how much you're spending on this loan over the course of, say, 48 months? Well, an A+ credit score at a 2.75% over 48 months, you're going to end up spending a little over $850 in interest alone, and then of course the principal of the $15,000 loan. Versus a D credit score person will end up spending around 13%, which totals over $4,000 over the life of your loan. So if I didn't convince you that credit is important yet with that auto loan example, let's talk about mortgages, where you're dealing with a much longer span of time as well as a much larger dollar value. So let's say that you have a 720 credit score versus somebody that has a 620 credit score. So a 720 is kind of your A+ person that's got great credit. A 620 is somebody that's got poorer credit, maybe like a D or an E or so. But you might just get approved for a mortgage loan even with a 620 credit score. Well, somebody that has a 720 credit score, they're going to get a 0.5% interest rate lower than somebody that has a 620 credit score, depending on the institution. So for sake of this example, we're going to say that our 720 credit score person has a 3.875% interest rate on their 30-year mortgage for, say, a $100,000 house. Versus somebody that has a 620 credit score, they would then have around a 4.375% interest rate on that same $100,000 house over the course of 30 years. And you say, well, that doesn't seem a whole lot different, right? Actually, the person with a 720 credit score over the course of those 30 years will end up spending just a little over $69,000 in interest, which you're like, whoa, that's already kind of a lot of money. Well, that's the cost of money, really. Whereas the person that has a 620 credit score will end up spending a little over $79,000 in interest on that same exact house. Now let me just tell you, somebody that has a better credit score may have a better credit score even because there was just an accident when people were running their credit. So that means that somebody might have reported something that wasn't actually true about you, but you may not have known about it and not known how to report that that was a problem and there was an error and get it fixed. And so therefore you didn't get it fixed, which means that you're spending over $10,000 more just because somebody else made a mistake. That doesn't seem fair. So it's kind of important. Now I'm going to talk about why budgeting isn't important, or what I like to call the latte effect. If you're like me, you like to drink coffee. Now let's say you go to Starbucks before work every day and you grab a latte. Well, if you're looking at your budget, you'll realize that a latte costs $4 every time. So let's say you work 20 days in a month, that's going to be $80 a month just in coffee alone. Whereas alternatively, you could go to Kroger, buy a whole bag of coffee for like $6, and that's probably going to last you 2 months. So if you're doing the math over the course of the entire year, you're actually going to spend about $900 less at Kroger than you would have at Starbucks, where with that money, you can get yourself your own espresso machine and buy your own syrup and make super tasty drinks all by yourself, and it'll probably take you, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes in the morning. But it'll be delicious, it'll be substantially cheaper, and you can make it however you want to make it, and that way you can't blame the Starbucks workers for how they prepared your coffee and how they did it wrong and called you the wrong name. Crazy, right? Finally, let's talk about investing. Investing is this magical world where money just grows out of nowhere. I'll explain what I mean using the rule of 72. Here's how it works. Let's say you had a baby, and you wanted to give the baby a good financial startup, so you put $1,000 into an investment earning 10% per year, and you never touched it again, never added to it or took any money out of it. Well, the rule of 72 says you take 72 divided by the interest rate, and that's the amount of years it will take for your money to double. So in our example, your money is going to double every 7.2 years. So when the kid turns 7, you're going to have about $2,000. When they turn 14, you're going to have about $4,000, which doesn't seem like a lot, but by the time that they retire, they're going to have over $500,000. So taking a look at investing can be kind of helpful too. All that to say, we'd love it if you stuck around and watched more of our videos. We'll have a new video coming out every first and third Monday of the month at 6 a.m. sharp. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. And subscribe. We'd love to create a community of money-savvy individuals that are encouraging each other in the comments all the more as we tackle our finances together. Thank you so much for watching.